Everyone wants to earn more money, find that revolutionary business idea that changes our lives and makes us rich overnight. But that is not always possible. In this video, we're going to explore how to find your business idea, your product or service, what you want to offer. The information in this video not only serves to find the idea from scratch, from a starting point, but also if you already have something in mind, if you have any plans, any initiatives, it will help you evaluate them, assess them, and consider different perspectives. There may be things you are not taking into account. This video will be presented in different points. The first point is that you don't have to be your target audience. Your business is for you to make money, not for you to like your business or be your own consumer. This is the most common mistake I see when people in my circle approach me with an idea, a project, an initiative. They always focus on themselves, things they like. They are their own target audience. In other words, if someone is a tennis enthusiast, they want to develop a tennis racket or tennis accessory. If someone loves meat, they want to open a meat restaurant. The reality is that it may not necessarily go wrong when we do things this way, but we are biased, missing out on many opportunities. The world is full of opportunities if we look around. So, it doesn't matter if you're the world's biggest carnivore. If you look around and see that veganism is booming, if you see that veganism is the future and continuously growing, maybe, even if you're the world's biggest carnivore, you open a vegan restaurant. It doesn't matter. You're here for the business, here to make money. You don't have to be your target audience. Open your eyes, open your mind, learn to have a sense for it. You're here to seek the business, find the money, get other people to give you their money. The second point is to try to create a business model that is scalable, to plan it from the beginning as a model that is as scalable as possible, allowing you to grow in the future. It's true that practically all products, services, or business models are scalable, but some are more scalable than others. For example, if you decide to give massages on the beach and buy some oils to offer your massages, that's your service, perfect, and it's scalable. You can definitely scale it, hiring 50 massage therapists, buying Balinese beds and placing them on the beaches and in hotels, and you'll have an empire in the massage industry. Everything is scalable, but it's true that there are business models that will be much more challenging. Try to choose a scalable business model. Nowadays, technology is the key factor in providing scalability to businesses. Understand technology and leverage it. Even traditional business models that seem completely established can be implemented in a better way, improved using technology to make them more scalable. The third point is to try to be part of a winning industry. This is quite obvious, but when an industry tends to grow, expand, it's likely that even if you do things reasonably well, your business will grow even if you're not the best. However, if you enter a losing industry, if, during the GPS technology boom, you decide to start a paper map production company, it will most likely fail. So, look around and see what's trending. Everything related to recycling, environmental care, social responsibility is on the rise. Veganism, healthy eating, they are all growing trends, and there will be increasing interest. Stay within a winning industry. The fourth point is that everyone trying to develop or find that business idea is looking for something new, something completely new, totally innovative, the new platform. Often, it's not about that. It's about improving what already exists. Many things are already invented. There are many inefficient processes, things that could be done more easily, more conveniently, in less time, or more automated. There are many problems out there, and you have to change your mindset. When looking for a business idea, don't think about making money. Think about solving a problem for someone or providing something for someone because you need that other person to willingly give you their money, their resources. You have to address their needs, their problems. Stop thinking about making money and focus on solving problems. The fifth point I'd like to address is that you should find a suitable product or service, but not just suitable on its own, but suitable considering the sales channel you want to implement. Many of you are interested in a very trendy sales channel like e-commerce, which I think is fantastic. I believe it's the future, a winning industry on the rise as more and more people shop online. However, you have to consider that you might have a fantastic product that could be too fragile, prone to returns, which can be headaches and costs for your company. It might be too large or heavy, causing shipping costs to skyrocket, and in the end, you may have to ask the customer for more money for shipping costs than for the product itself. So, if you want to focus on e-commerce, for example, you have to take all these variables into account. Think about that product or service, the idea you have in mind. Think about how you want to sell it, by which channel, and try to identify all these potential issues. The sixth point is to learn to pivot. When you define the product or idea you want to launch and see the sales or distribution channel, you will always encounter problems and limitations. For example, if it's a physical store, you will have opening hours defined by law, which are limits you won't have in e-commerce. But in e-commerce, the customer won't be able to try your product if it's sunglasses, for example, and you'll have returns, something that doesn't happen in physical stores. Everything has its pros and cons. Nothing is black or white. So, you have to learn to pivot. Once you recognize problems, don't discard your ideas immediately. Learn to look for alternatives. There are always alternatives. Your final idea will always come from pivoting. Rarely will you have a eureka moment and say, I have the product, the idea, the concept I want to develop, and do it straightforward. You will always be pivoting, which means developing another idea based on the initial one and reaching a different place. And from there, you'll reach another one. You will always see that this is a constant process of pivoting. You'll try A and see that it's not A. Try B and see that it's not B either. Then it will be a combination of A and B, and then you'll have to try again. You will always have to pivot. It's not a straight line, but a constant process of trying different things. The seventh point I'd like to discuss is that you should work on differentiation. Differentiation doesn't just mean doing super crazy, super new, super innovative thing, but having a differentiation strategy. For example, Shine differentiates itself from other mega clothing companies by being the cheapest. When you buy something there, you know the quality won't be the best, but you might decide it's worth it for occasional use. You can differentiate yourself by having the best customer service, being the most attentive company. You can differentiate yourself by being the most expensive, the most exclusive, the one you can't buy because you don't belong to our super exclusive private club. You can differentiate yourself simply by the pure quality of your product. With differentiation, I mean choosing a differentiation strategy and sticking to it. Why are you going to be different from your competitor? Why should the customer choose you? Ask yourself these two questions, and you will understand the answer. You will understand why you want to differentiate yourself. The eighth point is to consider the pains, obstacles, and legal impediments you will encounter along the way. I never expected all the procedures that have to be done with health registration, the conditions the establishment must meet, the conditions the manufacturer must meet, the number of certificates that must be presented at the country and state level, and so on. So, when you choose a product, think about the legal obligations and the procedures you will have to carry out. Some are simpler, but others are much more complicated. For example, if you suddenly decide you want to make a toy for children, I'm sure that toy will have to undergo 1,000 tests to avoid putting children at risk, for instance. This is something that we often overlook, but it can complicate everything. It might even lead to abandoning the project halfway due to the complexity of these procedures. So, it's important to do this research, find this information in advance before getting started. The ninth point, very short and simple, is to import ideas, to seek a lot of information, to try to mix different ideas, different solutions to problems. You will achieve this by reading, searching on the internet, and above all, traveling. I invite everyone to travel as much as they can, but when you travel, don't just go as a tourist. Go with your senses alert, looking for businesses that work and those that don't. What part of the business you see here hasn't reached my country yet? Think about it, and you'll see that the world is full of ideas. It's true that on Pinterest, for example, you can find many ideas, but in the end, on Pinterest, there will be hundreds of thousands of others looking for the same thing as you. If you travel, you'll have many more opportunities to find something completely innovative, something that hasn't arrived yet. And the 10th and final point to conclude this video is that you should not hide your ideas, you should share them. Many times, we have an aversion to sharing our ideas with others because we think they will steal them or discourage us, and so on. If people criticize your ideas or point out flaws, try to use them to your advantage. Because they're telling me I'm going to fail because of this, and this, okay, do I know how to solve it? Yes. Perfect. I can continue. If you don't know how to solve it, that perspective will have been useful because now you have a challenge to overcome. You have to find a way to solve what they have raised. And by sharing your idea with your circle, with your mentor, with whoever you consider, you will get different perspectives that will be valuable in determining whether you really want to do it or not. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video. Goodbye.